Hey, welcome to Beyond the Blurb, episode 4. How are you besties doing? So today's episode, I was thinking I'm going to run through my 5-star reads of 2025 so far. I was originally thinking of talking about my July reads, but then realised I'm so late to the game. I'm recording this episode on the 14th of August. By the time that goes live, it's in another 5 days. No, it's just not happening. I'm too late, but I will probably do that monthly. I don't know, because on my socials I do it quite quick, quite rapid. I don't really go in depth in my monthly roundups, but then I do go in depth per book a lot of the time. I don't necessarily talk about every single book in depth on TikTok, but majority I do. So do I need to go and do that again on my podcast? But then I also feel like sometimes it's nicer to just have a all-rounder of the month that's a bit more in depth, and you can just put me on in the background on your TV or on your phone and just listen to me ramble. So I might do it. I don't know. I'm sitting on my sofa again if you are not watching me on YouTube, if you are listening to me on Spotify or something. But I've decided this is not going to be my full-on setup. I'm doing it at the moment because, let me tell you, my bedroom and the office, it is an absolute state, okay? I don't know when that's going to be sorted out. Only my wardrobe was built very recently and I still don't have the doors on it, okay? I don't know where I'm going to put books because I didn't have a bookshelf. I had shelves that were on the wall in my old bedroom and also a fireplace that I used to store a lot of my books. So I don't know how I'm going to do everything. And also, honestly, I know you're probably not interested, but I don't really like white furniture anymore. But a lot of our furniture, mine and my boyfriend's, is white at the moment. And obviously, funds are limited when you move in a house because we have to buy a sofa or a bed. They're expensive stuff. Our upstairs is white furniture and it's probably going to be white for a while because we're going to do the living room first, get that done, get all the furniture for it, make sure we're happy with that, and then continue doing one room at a time. So I don't really know, because I do need to buy a bookcase. I need to do a filming setup, but do I buy an oak furniture shelf thing, or do I just buy white, bite the bullet? Because I don't know when we're going to be able to do up the rooms. Anyway, I'm struggling, okay? I don't know where to put my books, basically, is the moral of the story. I don't know where to film my book content because I want my books in the background. I'm just having a little bit of a dilemma right now, but I will sort it out. So let's start with my 5-star reads. Kill Switch was my first one of 2025 that was 5-star. According to Goodreads, I finished reading that on the 2nd of January. I did start on the 29th, but I'm still going to count it for 2025. That was my first one. It is the 3rd book of the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas. I feel like a lot of people know it. They might not have read it, but they just know what it is, right? The whole series is based on 4 MMCs that grew up together, part of really rich families that are really important, have a lot of power, the classic. And they basically got up to a lot of mischief when they were younger on Devil's Night, which is the night before Halloween. This series is actually inspired by a film, but I forgot what it's called. Each MMC has got a different backstory and different FMC, obviously, and different love interest. Would I say it's dark? Yes. I did recommend this as a dark romance read for kind of beginners, because this is a really good introduction to sort of masked men, because they're not fully masked men, but they do wear masks, and a little bit of that dark romance. The first 2 books I wouldn't say that are as dark, but this book, Kill Switch, is quite dark. It is heavy on mental health, it is heavy on SA. There's a lot to it and a lot to unpack, but he is my favourite MMC. He's just that damaged man that I just want to fix. This next book is definitely my top 3 of this year, and that is Onyx Storm. I feel like it's in a lot of people's top 3s or even firsts because it was insanely good. The only thing that I did struggle with is just remembering the previous story and who people were, because not only that there are a lot of people already that you also meet so many new people that it is kind of hard to keep up with. So I would highly suggest reading 1, 2 and 3 pretty much straight after another, or at least don't take a long break. But obviously I read Fourth Wing when it came out and then had to wait for Onyx Storm. Aside from that, it was perfect. So much better than Fourth Wing. I kind of, looking back, didn't really like Fourth Wing. I did but didn't. Not Fourth Wing. Iron Flame. Fourth Wing, I loved. It was Iron Flame that I struggled with. Onyx Storm, yes. 10 out of 10. I absolutely loved and adored it. Xaden is definitely like this Shadow Daddy king. I'll tell you why though. It's not even the book. It's the edits, okay? The edits that exist of Xaden are insane. I think they're the best ones I've ever seen of anyone in my life. They're the most accurate I have ever seen. Aside from that, the story, so good. You get to visit a lot of new areas, and it doesn't feel as like childish. Not that it ever was like childish, but looking back at how much it has changed from Fourth Wing to Iron Flame and now Onyx Storm, like this feels more adult, you know, this feels more intense. Information that you find out, it's just, yeah, it is so good. If you haven't read the Empyrean series yet, what are you doing? It definitely deserves the hype, let me tell you. I'm going to get a bit more comfortable. Nightfall is the 4th book of the Devil's Night series, and I also rate that 5 star. I'll probably say now looking back it'll be like a 4.5 or even like 4.75. I wouldn't necessarily rate it 5 star looking back, but at the same time I did rate it 5 star at the time. I really liked the story of this because it was a lot different. I actually can't say because it will ruin the story, but it wasn't in the same kind of place as the other 3. Not only that you get dual POVs, but you also get dual timelines. So you go back in time and get to know them when they were at school, and then you go in the present where they are now. I personally love that because it keeps the story interesting. I know some people don't, and they think, what's the point of me learning about the past? Let me just carry on with the present. And I do kind of get that. I think if it's just like a relevant story from the past, I do get, it's kind of like, okay, do I really need to read this? It's a waste of my time. Like, let's just carry on with the present, what's going to happen next. I think Devil's Night was done right. The only thing I'd say about Nightfall is I think it is a bit too long. I don't think it needed to be that long. Okay, then we've got Quicksilver. Now, I've actually been umming and ahhing recently with my besties about Quicksilver, and I keep changing my mind on whether it's a 5 star or not. Like, it is. I think it is. I rated it 5 star at the time, so surely it is definitely a 5 star, right? I actually haven't read that many 5 stars this year, and I did really like Kingfisher, and I think the story was interesting. It was definitely a different concept to what I've read so far, where you've got like the Quicksilver, you've got Fae and vampires, which I found really interesting. That's not something I've read before together, I don't think. It was good. It was good. I don't think it was that slow. I've seen people say, oh, it's really slow, really boring, but I really don't think so. I think the first book in Fantasies is either really, really chaotic and a lot of action, and then the second book is really quiet and slow. Or you've got it the other way around, where the first book is a little bit quieter and slow and you're learning a lot, and then later on it's all the action. Listen, I don't need action all the time. That's the one thing you besties need to know about me. Like, a book doesn't need to constantly have loads and loads of like fighting or smart or just action all the time. Like, I'm happy with down moments as well, especially in like fantasies, because it can be a lot, especially when you're learning a lot of information. It's a new world. So yeah, I really didn't find it slow at all. And I think a good fantasy actually does have down moments. Just think about one of the best series, you know, they have their down moments too. Anyway, I really liked it. Zodiac Academy, the last book. Yeah, I really missed that whole world, let me tell you. I miss it so much. Restless Stars, that was a 5 star, maybe even 6 stars. I absolutely loved it. I loved it so much. Like, I cannot get enough of that book. I think book 7 and 8 are probably the books where people give up and they sort of say, oh, it's long and boring, ridiculous, whatever. Just hold out. Just power through. You can take breaks. I took breaks between I think I took a break halfway through 7 and halfway through 8 because they are big books. But 9, masterpiece. So good. So much happens and it is very emotional. I don't think I've ever cried that much in a book before. In terms of like how long I cried for, there are numerous amount of times I cried during this book. So good. And I think it was also bittersweet because obviously you had like a happy ending with certain people, you had a sad ending with some people, and obviously you're sad because the whole series has ended. I know I can re-enter that world, but it's just not going to be the same. Like, I miss Tori and Darius. I miss Lance and oh my god, what's her name? Blue. I always think it's Blue. Darcy, yeah, that's it. I miss Caleb. I'm going to be sitting here just thinking about Zodiac Academy if I don't carry on. Magnolia Park's A Long Way Home and Daisy Hates A Great Undoing. Sure, yeah, they can be my 5 star reads. They are definitely 5 star worthy, 110%. This series is either a love or hate, and I completely understand it. You're either going to really love the story and the writing, or you're not really going to understand it, and that is absolutely fine. What I don't like is when people judge you for loving this. I will love this until the day I'm not here anymore. Okay, I'm sorry, but it is brilliant. I love it because it is a love story, it is a romance that is very beautifully written, but is very toxic, very up and down. It's not this classic, I met you in a coffee shop and we fell in love, but then we had this fallout because you, I don't know, made me mad. Wow, let me cry about it for a few chapters. Then he does something nice and you're like, oh, I'm not sure. Oh, and then he does something nice again and you're like, oh, okay, no worries, I forgive you. Yeah, we'll fall in love happily ever after. It's not that. It is very messy. It is very on again, off again, on again, off again. And oh, this person's involved and this person cheated and this person is saying this and is lying about this. Like, it is messy, but it is a masterpiece. I love romance books like that. They are a bit more realistic. I also love like a cheeky little palette cleanser romance. Sure, I love them too. And yeah, like I was saying, the writing is just stunning. Like, the amount of highlighting I can do in this whole series is insane. Like, the quotes that Jessa Hastings produces is out of this world. Also, the ending of both of those, insane. Especially Daisy Hates a Great Undoing, because we haven't actually had a book following on from that. So everyone is sitting here like, hello, Jessa Hastings. Do you know what? Jessa Hastings does make me laugh because she really refuses to write the next book. Also, I have heard it's going to be very emotional. So yeah. Then we have the Edge of Darkness trilogy. The whole trilogy is like god tier for me, okay? But Insatiable and Voracious, the first two books, oh my lord. Oh, so good. So good. They are 5-star, maybe even 6, okay? I think the second book is like 6 stars. So let's just talk about the first one, which is Insatiable. Now, this is a dark romance, quite dark actually, to be fair. So if you're not a dark romance reader, probably not for you, especially to start off with. So I'm not going to go into detail about it, don't worry. I don't want to trigger anybody, but let's just say, yeah, there are some quite deep topics, but it is very, very well done. This is also dual POV and dual timelines, heavily action based. This actually reminded me, now hear me out and wait a second, this reminded me of Haunting Adeline, but not from like a stalker aspect, okay? Let's just put that to one side on Haunting Adeline, but just the way that it wrote in so much depth about what was going on and the type of things that were going on, it kind of felt similar to Haunting Adeline in that sense. So if you read Haunting Adeline, but then you would be okay reading the Edge of Darkness trilogy, it's just so good. It's just so good. I need to read Psychotic Obsession, which I think is the prequel to the Edge of Darkness. I think it's about his dad, which I've had mixed reviews on, to be fair, but I will definitely give it a read at some point, or I might just listen to it, I don't know. The first book, Insatiable, is more to do with, I'd say, about getting to know their backstory. There is quite a lot of going back in time, but I really love that again. I think it's very important to the story, and it's very important to fall in love with those characters and understand their past and like what happened. It's definitely not as dark. I think the second book is definitely the darkest. It has a lot more of like essay and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then you've got the ending, which is rough, and you're like, okay. And then the ending of Voracious, you're even more like, okay, cool. Do you want me to have a breakdown? Magnolia Parks Into the Dark. This is the last Magnolia Parks book we have, and it is the last that we're going to have for Magnolia Parks, but not in the Magnolia Parks universe. Anyway, yeah, this is definitely another 5-star read. Feelings are the same as the other Magnolia Parks books. I absolutely love and adore the writing, and it was a great finish. It was so emotional. I cried so much. I cried to the point where I had like a ball in my throat because it was just so sad. The ending of the previous Magnolia Parks book and then knowing what actually happens, every time I remember it, I just want to cry. So I don't want to talk about it anymore. You just have to read it. Oh, The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Yeah, the first book is definitely a 5-star read for me. Oh, I loved it. I loved the trial element. I loved the MMC and the FMC. She was definitely a bit more of like a powerful FMC to her extent, if that makes sense. And I love that because a lot of FMCs nowadays are very oh, I'm so weak and I have no power, although she doesn't have power, but like she's not a weak, fragile little being that does nothing and just sits there in her bed. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's actually doing something. And the romance did hit. It was quite obvious from early on though, that's the only thing, but sometimes I don't mind that. I don't know, it worked here. It definitely worked here. I don't think it necessarily came too early. Like, I don't think they got together too early, but I just think the knowing who the MMC was going to be came quite early on. But still, it's vampires, which also, I've never read a vampire book before, by the way. I loved the Vampire Diaries. Oh, such a good series. And I loved watching Twilight when it first came out. Now I read it because it's just funny, but at the time I was like, this is amazing. 10/10 cinema. The FMC's guardian is like the king, and he's basically like looked after her, and she's human. She ends up entering the Kajari, which happens like every 100 years, I think, which is like this competition amongst loads and loads of vampires, and the winner gets a gift from the goddess. So she enters as human, but obviously everyone else is a vampire, which is interesting. But she's kind of grown up to know how to protect herself from vampires. So like I said, she is quite like a powerful FMC in her own way. And yeah, she enters a Kajari. She ends up having to live in this castle, and she enters these wild, scary competitions, like fighting different monsters and whatnot with the MMC. So yeah, loved it. The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings are rated 5-star as well. Now, I always say this is definitely not going to be for everyone. Definitely not. This is heavily on religion. So if you're someone that doesn't like reading about people's beliefs, people's religions, maybe not for you. I mean, it's not like that's all they talk about, but like basically the FMC doesn't talk to her family really because of their beliefs versus hers. Like, they're very, very religious, whereas she kind of wants to, you know, live her life the way that she sees fit, and they disagree with a lot of her choices, and they kind of like, they're terrible, but I can't really say why, but they're just terrible. Her dad sadly passed away. This is obviously right at the beginning of the book, so she has to go back to America because she's living in the UK for like the funeral, and she ends up being there for a little while, and she meets someone there, and then she finds out loads of stuff about her family and her dad. So it's not just a romance book, which is why I love it so much. I did really like it. This is a really funny one because I actually ended up rating this 4-star, but I know I originally rated this 5-star, and that is Silver Elite. I'm not going to lie to you, I did rate it 5-star originally, and then I changed it to 4. It could be even 4.5. I don't know. I'm really struggling with Silver Elite, to be quite honest with you, because I really enjoyed the story. Listen, when I was reading Silver Elite, I basically told my brain to really just relax and just allow yourself to enter that story and get lost in that story. I've become really critical in the sense of I want to predict the ending, and I want to think about what's actually happening so I know how to review the book, instead of actually allowing myself to just enjoy it. I let myself enjoy it, and I really did. It is nearly a 5-star, to be fair. But I am going to talk about it here because I did originally rate it 5-star. I think this is a fun book that has dystopian-esque vibes. I wouldn't necessarily say it's like fully dystopian, but then we don't know because this is book 1. This is something that did annoy me, I'm not gonna lie, about Silver Elite, and it's too late for me to do like a podcast about this because obviously it's done and dusted now. There's no point to bring it back up, but this is only book 1 out of however many books there are, right? We don't know how many. We know that the second book has been announced though, which is really exciting. Everyone was like, oh, there's not enough like dystopian elements, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I mean, I've never read Hunger Games. I've never read Divergent, but I have watched the films. Hunger Games, okay, yeah, Hunger Games is just something else. But Divergent, for example, is very heavily on romance too, and just being trained up and passing the tests and whatever. With that being said, yes, Divergent was still a little bit more dystopian than Silver Elite book 1 was, but people just need to give it a bit of a chance. Like, just because book 1 was very on the romance doesn't mean it's not dystopian at all. It definitely had dystopian elements, so let's just let it go. It's a fun read. Let's just enjoy that. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be so deep. Oh my god, I'm so thirsty. Manacled, I haven't rated on Goodreads, but it's obviously like 5-star. It's God tier. He's God tier. So I'm not going to talk too much about it because it is definitely God tier for me. But wow. It was sensational, and I can't wait for her official book to come out. I have ordered it on Waterstones, and I can't wait for it to arrive and can't wait to read it, see what she's done to the story, how it changes and all that kind of stuff. I'm so excited. So I would highly encourage everyone to order that book, especially if you have read Manacled, to support the author, because yeah, this is some good stuff. I just can't stop thinking about the ending. Like, I will just forever be traumatized by it, forever and always. I don't know how people don't love it. Absolutely beautiful, stunning, sensational, 10/10. Do you know what? I haven't actually read a 5-star book since Manacled. Fun fact. Nothing is pleasing me right now. There is nothing. I'm scrolling through Goodreads. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I haven't read a 5-star read since. The one that's been the closest so far is Shield of Sparrows. That was 4.75. I really loved it, guys. I absolutely loved and adored it. I don't know why some people are saying it's a no. I thought it was brilliant. I really like the concept, actually. So the FMC is part of like this royal family in her territory, and obviously dad's the king. Her sister was trained to be the sparrow, and the sparrow is someone who gets wed off to another territory to keep the peace, basically. But lo and behold, she gets chosen to be the sparrow instead when the prince visits her in the castle. Not for that, to be fair. It was more because he helped the king with something. So he arrived to take payment, and he wanted her as payment rather than the sparrow that was trained to be the sparrow. So she became the sparrow, basically. So she had to venture out with him to his land, and there we go. A lot happens, to be fair. Like, there's monsters, which I found quite cool, and the magic isn't your typical kind of fae magic, which again I really liked, because as much as I love fae, I'm also a little bit bored of the same thing over and over again, and hearing about mates and all this. As much as like I love that concept so much, I also want to read something different. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it was good. It was really good. And the love interest, I love him so much, so good. And the ending of that, it just, honestly, it feels so unfinished, which I love. I saw people moan about how they don't know enough yet and all this. And I'm like, well, yeah, it does, but one, like, you've got more to come, love. You're not going to get all the answers right now, honey boo boo. I will say, you need to be in the mood for a fantasy to read it, though. That's the thing. It's one of those fantasy books that are like quite in depth, but also there are those quieter periods that I was talking about where you build that relationship with the characters instead of like the fighting and the magic or the romance. And again, there's purpose for that, right? Because the author wants you to really connect with the characters, probably for later on in the book, later on in the series. Who knows? But yeah, just make sure you are in the mood to read that book if you haven't read that book already, because it is really freaking good. I really, really loved it. I thought it was nearly a 5-star. It just didn't give that 5-star feeling for me, but it was nearly there, like so nearly there. But I know a lot of people have also rated it 5-star, but then I also have seen people that didn't really like it, which really shocked me. There was a creator, I can't remember who it was now, it's really annoying. Was it Emmy that didn't love it? And I thought that she would absolutely love and adore it, but she didn't like hate it, I don't think. She just didn't rate it that highly either. Then I saw other creators that did love it. Was it Emmy? I don't want to say it was Emmy and then it wasn't. Oh, I'm gonna get it wrong, aren't I? But anyway, that is the last book that I nearly rated 5-star. This is it. They're the only 5-star books I've had this year, which isn't that many to be fair. I don't know whether it's because I've now read more books, so I am a bit more picky and I've got more to compare to, or have I just been picking up books that just aren't 5-star for me? I don't know. But because there was a time I know that I told myself I'm going to be a little bit more strict in my ratings, because there was a point where I was dishing out like 5 stars left, right and centre, and I was like, no honey, like slow down. Because then I looked back and went, no, that definitely wasn't a 5-star. Why did I give that 5-star? So I know I told myself to be a little bit more strict, but now I'm thinking, am I being too strict? Or am I just picking up books that aren't 5-star? I mean, there are definitely books that I've read that I knew weren't going to be 5-star. Like a lot of them, actually, thinking about it, I knew weren't going to be 5-star. So maybe it is on me that I'm reading books that aren't 5-star. Let me tell you what I'm currently reading. Okay, I'm currently reading Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I won't need to hit myself the Kindle. Now, did I love? Am I loving it? Am I loving it? Am I loving it? Is the question. Do you know what? No. Do you know what? I am enjoying it, but it's very different to what I thought it was going to be. I was expecting a lot of deep discussions, you know, like really emotional, that was going to make me cry for the whole book. I don't know. I thought that was Abby Jimenez. This is my first book by her, by the way. So this is my first experience. I am enjoying it, don't get me wrong, and it's really easy to read, but it's not like It's not like this masterpiece that everyone keeps talking about, but I am only like 48% through or something like that. So I still have like half a book to go. So hopefully I am going to feel those emotions, but who knows? I don't know. Maybe I was just thinking about a completely different book, but I thought the reason why everyone hyped Abby Jimenez up is because it's not just romance, it's also like other topics. There are, to be fair, mentions of like mental health and being happy in life and choosing what you love to do and all that kind of stuff, but it's not so far done in like this really deep, emotional, groundbreaking way. So I don't know whether I'm just not reading this book at the right time, but I am, because I am enjoying it. I'm just not loving it. Do you know what I mean? It is a little bit cringe at times. Yeah, I am enjoying this book, but I'm just not loving it. Like, I'm just not seeing the hype that everyone else is talking about. But I don't know. I still have like half the book left. It could get better. Who knows? But there we are. And that is the end of my podcast episode. Thanks so much for listening or watching me sit on my sofa for the last 30 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know if any of these books are 5-star reads, and I'll catch you in my next one.